In this video, we will talk about more Spring Boot interview questions. If you have not watched yet first video of Spring Boot interview questions, you can click on upcoming link on top right corner. So let's start. Difference between @controller and @rest controller. @controller. It is a stereotype annotation. It creates a map of model object and find a view. If in Spring Boot you try to write response directly to HTTP, if you are using @controller only, it will give you error. So with respect to @controller, you need to use @response body at the class level also. @rest controller. It is a specialized annotation, so you can see it is combination of @controller and @response body. So instead of writing @controller and @response body, you can write directly @rest controller. So the response is directly written to HTTP response as a JSON or XML. By the meaning of response is directly written means when you are trying to send a JSON to HTTP method, JSON will be able to serialize using Jackson that is supported by Spring Boot default. So that's why @response body is needed. So if in case you are not using @response body, conversion from JSON to the object will give you compilation error unless you are going to serialize it properly. Moving to next question. Difference between @CRUD repository and @JP repository. @CRUD repository provides methods that support basic CRUD operation like find by one, find all, delete by ID or delete by one, these kind of basic operations. @JP repository actually provides all the methods that you can use with the implementations of the JPA. So it extends paging and sorting repository, so you can do pagination also, and paging and sorting repository extends further CRUD repository. So use of JP repository is preferable. Moving to next question. Which Spring Boot starter provides you embedded server? Spring Boot Starter Web provides you Tomcat as an embedded server, and this Tomcat is added as a transitive dependency. So if you go to pom.xml and click on dependency hierarchy, inside Spring Boot Starter Web, you can find dependency Spring Boot Starter Tomcat. Moving to next question. How can I use any other logging frameworks like Log4j? In Spring Boot, you have default support of logging as logback. So without use of any other logging framework, you can do logging in Spring Boot using logback features. So in order to use any other logging framework like Log4j, SLF4j, you first need to remove default support for logback in pom.xml. You can do so by using exclusions tag in pom.xml, and inside exclusions tag you can provide exclude tag and provide group ID and artifact ID for logback. Then add dependency for the logging framework you need to use. For example, I want to implement Log4j, so I will add group ID and artifact ID of Log4j. Version will be automatically taken by the version in the parent, and then I need to customize the configurations of the logging framework. So I need to add the configuration file inside my class path and under src/main/resources. For example, if I have configuration file named log4j.xml, I would add log4j.xml under src/main/resources. So when the Spring Boot application starts, it will read all the files present in your class path and accordingly use the logging configurations. Moving to next question. How to send logs to a file? Sometimes it happens that we need to send the logs to external systems like Splunk for storage purpose. So in order to send the logs to a file, you can use logging.file or logging.path in application.properties. You can use either of them to send the logs to a file. For example, logging.file equal to d spring boot application.log, logging.path equal to d spring boot. So here you're seeing the difference that if you're using logging.file, you need to give a specific file name to which you want to store the log. While using login.path, if you do not give any specific name, spring.log will be the default file name in which your logs will be stored. Now the question is, what if I use both of them? Means in my application.properties, I am using logging.file as well as logging.path. In case both are present, then login.path is ignored and the path used by login.file will be considered as primary. Moving to next question. What is banner in Spring Boot? Logo that is shown before Spring Boot application starts. If you have observed, whenever you start Spring Boot application, the first thing you will see on the console is Spring logo. So this is the default banner. So you can either turn it off or put your own company name as a part of logo. Moving to next question. Do you know how to customize the banner? Yes, in Spring Boot, banner is customizable. So you can add banner.text in class path under src/main/resources. Remember here, the name of banner should start with banner only. So it will be banner.text, banner.jpg or banner.png. Supported types for banner in Spring Boot are .text, .gif, .png, .jpg also. Moving to next question. Have you handled exceptions in Spring Boot? Yes, we have used centralized exception handling for all exceptions in Spring Boot application. So in Spring Boot, like Java, you can also write try-catch block to handle exceptions. You can throw custom exceptions, but the best preferred way is to create a package called exceptions and then create a custom class called error response so that all error response should have the same format and then have a single class where all your exceptions should be handled. So this is called centralized exception handling in Spring Boot. So for centralized exception handling, you need to create an exception class. So you can give any name of the exception class and then extend this class with at that response entity exception handler. If you are always sending a response entity consists of the response as well as headers and the HTTP status code. Now, extending with at that response entity exception handler is optional. So, second step is whenever you create the exception class, annotate it with @controller advice. So all the exceptions that would be thrown in your project would be cached by this exception class. Then create methods that handle a specific exception. And in order to handle methods a specific exception, we use @exception handler and each method, and inside @exception handler we pass what kind of exceptions to be handled. So in this way you can create a centralized exception handling in Spring Boot. Moving to next question. Do you know Actuator in Spring Boot? Yes, Actuator provides production ready features for monitoring of application in Spring Boot. Moving to next question. How can I expose all Actuators endpoint? First, you have to add Actuator dependency in pom.xml. Second, we can use management.endpoints.web.exposure.include equal to asterisk in application.properties. So remember this, management.endpoints.web will remain common for all the Actuators related activity. Moving to next question. What are the endpoints that are exposed as default? Only 2 endpoints are exposed as default without any security. So these endpoints are /health and /info. Moving to next question. How can I change base path of Actuator endpoints? Default base path is /actuator, example /actuator/health. We can use management.endpoints.web base path in application.properties to change base path. For example, management.endpoints.web base path equal to /byte programming. So my health endpoint will be under /byte programming/health. Info endpoint will be under /byte programming/info, like so on. Moving to next question. Can I disable a particular endpoint provided by Actuator? In order to disable a particular endpoint, you can use management.endpoints.web.exposure.exclude in application.properties. For example, management.endpoints.web.exposure.exclude equal to beans. Moving to next question. Have you used devtools in Spring Boot? Yes, we have used devtools in Spring Boot so that without manual restart of the server, the changes that we done in the code that is present in the class path will be automatically reloaded and the server will be restarted. So if it is a Java code, it will restart the server as much as we save in the ID, like Eclipse, STS or IntelliJ. If it is UI related changes, you have live reload server that will automatically reload the browser. Moving to next question. I want to auto restart my application every time I do some code changes in a Spring Boot app. Is it possible? How? Yes, I can do so using devtools in Spring Boot. First, I need to add dependency of devtools in Spring Boot. So any code change, either UI related changes or .java file changes, if it is present in the class path and I do some changes, it will be automatically reflected in the browser. And if it is Java code, my embedded server will be automatically restart. Moving to next question. How server knows what type of data to process? If you have noticed while creating web service, you have used @produce annotation, @consume annotation. So inside @produce and consume, you pass what type of data your web service is processing. So using this, server knows what type of data is going to be processed. For example, @produces application/XML, application/JSON. So the web service can process either XML type data or JSON type data. Similarly, @consume means the web service can process or consume either XML related data or JSON type data. Instead of directly using @produce annotation and @consume annotation inside @request mapping, you can pass consume equal to application/XML or application/JSON also. Moving to next question. What if I use @repository instead of @service at service class? Now, if you remember, @controller, @service, @repository, all are stereotype annotations. So these annotations are just used for the documentation purpose. With respect to programming error, nothing will happen, but we should use them properly for documentation purpose. Moving to next question. How to disable a specific auto configuration in Spring Boot? You can use exclude tag either in @enable auto configuration or @Spring Boot application. For example, @enable auto configuration exclude equal to security auto configuration.class or @Spring Boot application exclude equal to security auto configuration.class. So at the time of a startup, security auto configuration.class will not be included as a part of opinionated view that Spring Boot provides. Moving to next question. How to run Spring Boot on random port? We know that to run Spring Boot on a particular port, we can use server.port. Similarly, the default port that is provided for Tomcat is 8080. So in order to change the port, we use server.port and application.properties. So for random port, we can use server.port equal to 0. So using server.port equal to 0, your Spring Boot application will start randomly on any port, but this is not advisable at all. Moving to next question. How we can connect Spring Boot to external DB? Write connection string like driver class to be used, username pass of the database in application.properties. Add Spring Boot starter GPU dependency to take use of default support of Hibernate. Connection string will be look like, for example, if you are using MySQL, which is running on port 3000 and using database Byte, spring.datasource.url, jdbc mysql localhost 3000/byte, username Byte, password Byte, And if you want to generate the schema, you can use either none, create or update also. Moving to next question. Which framework is supported for default implementation of JPA in Spring Boot? Spring Boot provides default support of JPA as Hibernate. Moving to next question. How do I use a package that is not in my class path in Spring Boot? So use @component scan. Inside component scan annotation, pass the package or the class need to explicitly used. For example, @component scan base package equal to com.byteprogramming.springboot.demo, or instead of package you can use base class if it is a single class. So it could be com.byteprogramming.springboot.demo dot springboot.class, something like that. So this was all about Spring Boot interview questions. In next video, we will try to look some scenario based Spring Boot interview questions. Subscribe and stay notified for more upcoming Spring Boot Microservice Cloud, Java and interview questions videos.